I've had many leading experts on this show, including Matthew Walker, and they've all said the same thing about sleep. They've said it's the biggest positive investment you can make in your own performance. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you're consistently tired, poor decision-making will follow and eventually cause other things to fail in your life. So if you're looking to optimize your recovery, you should start looking at what you're sleeping on. Our sponsor, Helix, makes high-quality mattresses tailored to your body. It doesn't matter if you run hot, sleep on your side, or need something firm. Helix has a mattress for you. And I asked them recently to send one to a member of my team, and Juan received it. And we travel a lot, so when he's home, quality sleep really matters. And he told me he's getting the best sleep of his life. And the data backs it up, with 82% of people in a Helix study saying they saw an increase in their deep sleep. And with a 120-night trial, you've got 4 months to prove it to yourself. You can get 27% off at helixsleep.com/diary. That's helixsleep.com/diary.
Fear and doubt, like lack of self-belief, not believing that you can or those things. That's probably one of the most common sort of mental games that holds us back or limits us from our full potential. How does one go about overcoming their own limiting beliefs about themselves? Like they think, okay, well, no, I can't do that. Everybody thinks they can't do everything, it seems, these days. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of what I do for a living, but I'm just surrounded by an audience of people that have real limiting beliefs. And I wonder why, but I also wonder how you help them overcome their own limiting beliefs. Big question.
It's a huge question. How do we overcome our limiting beliefs? It's actually something that I work on a lot with when I'm coaching clients, identifying beliefs that, we would start probably with what are some of those limiting beliefs and start to unpick how are those beliefs, how are they serving? I wouldn't be interested in necessarily where they've come from. Mm-hmm. I would be interested in how are they serving us right now and how are they not serving us? Because sometimes we're believing them because they're serving us for a purpose. They're helping us in some way, but more often than not, those beliefs won't be serving us. So starting to unpick that, almost like what are the pros and cons of having this belief here right now that I can't achieve this, or that one of my limiting beliefs was that I'm not very good at sales. I run a training consultancy. I have to, find clients and so what's a more helpful belief? And starting to unpick what would be a better way of seeing this. What are my strengths? And what would be a new belief that would serve me better?
I think in some point in your journey, you probably not at one particular moment, but gradually, I imagine you started to build evidence within yourself that you could be a great kayaker. And I imagine that was over a long period of time, probably. There wasn't one day where you woke up and thought, fuck, I'm good. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is a big part of where we get our confidence from, is like our past experiences. Yeah. So whenever we do something, we start to build a bank of memories. And when we're at the next situation that is similar, we can choose to draw on the bank of negative experiences where we cocked it up, or we can choose to draw on the bank of positive experiences where we succeeded and we did it really well. And the trick is, if we're not conscious about it, chances are we might pick the experience of when we failed. And then that's when we start to regurgitate all those thoughts and feelings of embarrassment and anxiety and nerves. And that doesn't help us.
And that's that probably would then hinder performance.
Absolutely. It perpetuates the doubt and because you're reminding yourself of, remember last time when you did it, you cocked it up and you messed up and you did
but then
this.
You then cock it up because you're thinking
and then you cock it up because and we think in images.
Yeah.
And so when you think of something that you messed up, you're seeing yourself doing it, right? You're imagining it in your mind right here and now. And so the trick is to consciously recall the positive experience, the past successes. And if there's nothing in the bank exactly of that experience, there's chances are there's something similar. There's always something similar. And, so I would work with clients to identify what are all of the successes that you've had, not just in that specific scenario, but let's look at lots of different successes. And then let's pick out what are the what are the attributes that allowed you to achieve those things? Mm-hmm. Because quite often someone will go, oh, well, I achieved that, but it was because the weather was good on that day, or I achieved that because my team did it really. It wasn't me. So it's about starting to unpick, actually, what role did you play in that success? And what are the attributes that allowed you, your strengths, your attributes that allowed you to achieve that? Mm. And then we start to build up the bank of successes and the strengths and the attributes, which we can transfer into any scenario.
How much do you think people, and this is, I don't know why I'm asking this question because it's not quantifiable, but like, to what extent do you think people underestimate their potential generally?
Oh, massively.
Like, would you say like over 95%? Because I think I'd say people realize what, like, typically the average person realizes about 5% of their potential. And I only say this because, again, like you said, I was a very normal kid my parents bankrupt. Like I dropped out, I got kicked out of school, poor grades, everything. But this one thing I had, and I always say, like, the one thing I had was I genuinely believed that I was going to be where I am today, just without a ton of evidence, just genuinely believed. And in fact, the one of the reasons why I believed it was not because I had any bank of successes yet, but I had a little bit, but it was actually contrasting me to my peers when I was 14 and thinking, I think that I have skills they don't. And I think that if these are the people that become adults, then I will always have that advantage. So that was my way of like, and so when I cocked up my grades and GCSE, and when school starts with that narrative that, okay, well, you got an E, so you're going to have an E life. You're going to be broke and unhappy. I'm like, no, you're wrong. Like, so I get my
So you were gathering evidence. You were looking at your strengths, which is part of the puzzle, right? So
yeah, exactly.
You may not have had the experiences and the evidence of the achievements and the certificates and all of that, but what's more valuable is what you had, is the non-tangible stuff.
Yeah.
Because if we go through life only assessing our success on the tangible stuff,
yeah,
then our confidence, our self-belief, actually, and they're two different things, will be quite fragile.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because you're always assessing yourself against
a trophy
or society. Mm. Because you're compared to, oh, I got this award against all of these other people, and I won this trophy, and I went past this grade, and it's always against somebody else and a society, rather than looking at the intangible attributes that allowed you to achieve those successes, because that's what isn't measurable against society and is transferable to other domains.
And and you're completely right. And I've never actually thought about it that way before, because I've always tried to figure out why at 14 I was convinced that I would be successful. And at 18, I wrote in my diary, I'm going to have a Range Rover Sport before I'm 25. I'm going to be a millionaire from 25. Achieved all of those things. Just knew I would. But it was pure, as you say, it was purely based on almost a strength audit or skills audit versus other people that I knew. And I thought, oh, those skills are really good skills and they'll take you far. But school is about tangibles, like, and I would say a grade is a tangible.
Yeah.
So school says, okay, you got an E. So unfortunately, like, it creates the impression from all angles, you're going to be poor, like, and you're not going to be that successful. But Timmy over there, who's got an A, he's really going to kill it as a surgeon, and I think, so how you make it alive out of that system and still with your, self-esteem and self-belief intact is remarkable.
I think that what you had is better than the certificate. But what it does is it allows you to go, this is intrinsic in me.
No one can take it.
No one can take that away. And my self-worth isn't based on a certificate and a trophy and an award.
How do you give people that?
Well, so you work on identifying those strengths. Right, what are those strengths? So we do this all the time. We work with clients on what are those strengths and where's the evidence of those strengths? And when they start to see the evidence of those strengths, well, so I'm working with a client and, so one of your strengths is being an authentic leader. One of your strengths is building relationships. Where's the evidence of that? Look at all these people.
What do you do about weaknesses though? So would you highlight their weaknesses?
I think it's important to highlight both. I think it's more important to work on exploiting your strengths. And I would So we do a lot of diagnostics. We use behavioral profiling and all of that kind of stuff. And all of that will bring up both. And I think it's important to really be aware of your areas of development. But ultimately, if I'm sat on the start line of the World Championships and I'm focused on my weaknesses and all the things I need to avoid, my confidence is fragile.
Yeah.
Chances of performing at my best, slim. And so in that moment, I absolutely need to have on the tips of my fingers what my strengths are. And I need to know them and I need to be able to exploit them. And I think the more you work on those, the better.